Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. It is your place for helpful news, commentary, answers to your crypto questions, whether you're listening morning, noon, or night. It's time to rise up.
Good morning, the Rise Up Morning Show.
I had it on like turbo today. Bring it down just one time.
My brain auto-completed the sentence that you said is in the intro. It's like, answers to your crypto questions, whether you like it or not.
Because sometimes you might not like it, right? No. We're going to tell you no matter what. Keep it straight.
Well,
good
Evan,
level, he said.
You were starting a story for me about this this video.
That's right, Alex. I'm so glad you asked. Yesterday I made a video and you were saying it was a helpful example about crypto adoption and what can crypto do for stuff that is already valuable for us. And the example I used was stablecoins. But man, I gotta go back and make another video about stablecoins because yesterday the Unchained podcast released a great conversation about stablecoin adoption, specifically in Africa. And dude, there was the A16Z State of Crypto 2024 has been released. It's been released for over a week, and I didn't even know about it. Did you know about it?
I knew that it was like coming up. I don't think I haven't had time to sit down and go through the whole thing, but that's always a banger.
Dude, and now that what's his name at Masari has gone fully off the rails, it's like my only, crypto thesis that I look forward to every year. And I totally missed it. Thank you, Mel. And so if you haven't seen this before, I just wanted to tell everybody on the show, you got to check out the A16Z 2024 State of Crypto. It's 75 slides. It's a pitch deck full of A16Z's proprietary research, their information made public to you. My guy, Chris Dixon, is like, the mastermind. And I'm sure there are many other people who work on it, but he's the most notorious, kind of the figurehead leading the effort to bring this information to people. And he published 7 key takeaways from the report that I want to read for you now that'll tie back into stablecoins. So that's one of them is stablecoins have found product market fit for crypto. People are using stablecoins all the time, every day. And most of them in most places around the world are not doing it as like an on-ramp to buy Shiba Inu or Doge. You know what I mean? Like they're actually using stablecoins to gain access to the dollar, velocity of money, cheaper remittance payments, starting their businesses, getting loans. I mean, it's all the stuff we talk about happening in real life. But I want to read you the other 6 and then get your opinion on which you think is cool. And if you think maybe they missed anything in this overview before we get to the rest of the report. So
yeah, that'll be a hot take from me. A16Z dropped the ball.
Yeah, it's just stupid. Okay, so number 1, Chris says, crypto activity and usage hit all-time highs. And they do have some really cool like wallet breakdowns in there. Number 2, crypto has become a key political issue ahead of the US election. Number 3, stablecoins. We said that. Number 4, major scaling upgrades have drastically reduced on-chain transaction costs. Number 5, DeFi remains popular and it's growing. 6, crypto could solve some of AI's most pressing challenges. And here he's referring mostly to proof of machine, proof of humanity, how to verify what is true, what is fake online. And number 7, more scalable infrastructure has unlocked new on-chain applications. And you can get the full report at a16zcrypto.com. I highly recommend it. So Alex, was there what they missed, man? I mean, that's just the top 7 takeaways.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think as usual, they crushed it. I'm very excited to read through all of this. It's on my to-do list today now that I have a little extra time. But after I finish reading it, I'll let you know if I think they miss anything. But I mean, I have a hard time imagining it. I would think possibly.
Possibly.
We'll see. We'll see if gaming makes an appearance, because I believe it deserves to be mentioned.
It's got to. Chris talks about it a lot.
Yeah.
Or has talked about it previously a lot.
I would say specifically too, just in super recent events with the launch popularity and the widespread observation of off the grid. I think that that moment itself deserves a mention. Even since, although it is interesting, especially from someone like A16Z, to look at the landscape of venture capital investment into Web3 game studios, developers, and ecosystems, because the amount of money raised in Web3 gaming this year is bonkers. It's obscene.
Oh yeah.
So that would make sense, especially because A16Z led a number of those fundraisers.
I was going to say they must have led a couple of those rounds, and I think they had a disclaimer actually in their report that that they were not going to mention by name their portfolio companies out of, which honestly is a lot of the crypto industry if we're being real. They've got over $7 billion that they have invested. A lot of it is like leading rounds. They've been here since 2013. They're really not messing around. Was that
looking at Ansfar's comment?
Yeah,
I would not put Big Time and Off the Grid in the same sentence.
You wouldn't really?
I would not. No.
Tell me more about why, because I would associate them in my head as like headline Web3 games from the last 12 months.
No. First of all, Big Time's been out for years.
Oh, it has.
And they also, the reason that Off the Grid it deserves to be mentioned in something like this is because of the eyeballs that it brought from outside our echo chamber. Big Time has done nothing even close to that. They've been up for years, literally 2+ years. They've had token drama. There are all sorts of game drama issues. It's been nothing like gala level, but it's just like that thing is a dinosaur in the space, and it's been, in my opinion, and in what I would say is probably comfortably, I can say lots of the Web3 gaming community's opinion, overshadowed and far outpaced and outstripped, and Off the Grid just smoked everything else in the space when it came out. I wouldn't put them on the same level, not even close.
Okay, interesting. I'd love to learn more about what you talked about last night without me, but we already have a ton of crypto questions. So do you want to take a couple of questions from folks? Because there are some good ones rolling in.
Yes, and we should focus on that because I was not able to make it last night, and Will flew solo.
Will flew solo? Dang. Okay, Will. Are you okay? Did you get stuck on the island?
No, it was just couldn't quite swing the full day back to back.
You had a wild day yesterday. You really did.
16 hours. Yeah.
That's okay. I was singing at Lucky Dog. So who is, if you are a friend of the show, please do feel free to come up, request, ask your question that way. If we don't know you personally, we won't accept you this time. And it's not personal. It's just business.
Personal.
We got to keep, it is personal. Join the Discord and hang out with us there. Get to know us. Oh, I didn't even put the fun box up. Let me put the fun box up on TikTok here so you can see the link. If you're unfamiliar with the Discord, we started this. It's a free community that you can access to join learners at all levels of experience and ask more in-depth questions. You can share what you know, you can learn and grow together. It's really the best way to accelerate your learning journey is to join a community of people. It's sort of a mastermind where you can leverage what other people have learned to guide and orient yourself towards success. It's an awesome place. The only thing missing is you. So let's talk. We got questions from people, and we've already got folks popping up. We got Will coming up, our guy, and Mel has to come up. Will, how you doing, brother?
Hello. I'm good. Just getting set up here. I'll hop on the StreamYard in a minute. But how's everybody doing? Hope everybody's good. What up, Mel?
Hey,
Everybody's doing
how
good.
are you?
Doing great, Mel. Welcome. It's good to see you. And thanks
Yeah,
for your
nice
kind
to
words
see
in the
you.
comments. You were so kind to say such nice
you're
things.
so welcome. I just hope my voice isn't annoying. I got told it was on another live, so hopefully I don't annoy you with my accent. But I just need to say a big thank you to you guys. You've done me such a world of favors. I was investing in so many shit coins from influencers being shilled, and I really just learned I just need to have a rock solid portfolio And you guys really helped me out with that. So a massive thank you. Just one question I want to ask. My girlfriend is a lawyer at MasterCard. She released some news on XRP doing some sort of deal with MasterCard. I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but it sort of came out. And so she's thinking XRP is going to be a big move. I'm like, woof, a bit dicey on that one, as always. So I just wanted to see your thoughts on that, if possible.
Well, tell her that, lots of crypto companies have made partnerships with lots of private banks, lots of credit companies, loan providers. And my experience is that usually this is those private companies learning and leveraging the opportunity to see what's in the pudding and then build their own. For example, Visa recently partnered with a company that is using Avalanche to help them integrate blockchain into their payments. I still think it's most likely that these companies are going to build their own private blockchains. It just doesn't make sense for Visa or for MasterCard to rely on somebody else who benefits in such a tremendous way from having the infrastructure when they could build their own, the way that Sony is. So not a nothing burger, but also not the reason that XRP is going to blow up. I don't know. What do you guys think?
So this
go ahead.
This news story specifically, Mel, if I'm looking at the right one, it was from a few days ago. I remember seeing this headline and I scrolled right past it. So correct me if I'm wrong. It's the MasterCard and Ripple joined forces to transform global payments. It's like a this is one of those things that, in my humble opinion, would be good for, or is good for, Ripple as the company, and in no way, shape, or form benefits or translates to the XRP token, which is the constant reason that the XRP token itself is just sort of like trying desperately to stay on Ripple's coattails as they do infrastructure plays with payment processing companies. I would so rather own Ripple stock than an XRP token because of stuff like this. Like, they have a vested interest in keeping that price suppressed and stable, which is why they sell millions of dollars of the token every single month, because it is in their best interest to facilitate any future use of it to keep the price manageable and predictable. So I totally think that headlines like this, they absolutely have the potential to like spark a little flip, and a rise, and like get some people excited to buy the token. And, maybe we see small price run-ups, but we're talking, in the like 10, 15, 20, maybe 30% rallies, in my opinion, for stuff like this. And I think 30% off of a headline like this would be absolutely wild. So I just don't see how this benefits XRP, but I think that it's cool for Ripple as a company.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think it's more about Ripple. And interestingly enough, I tried to get a global trading account from Australia. It's such a hard job. I'm just going to stick to crypto. But I can see what you mean. It's Ripple that's making the money, right? Not XRP. So that's where you need to hold stock, is in Ripple, not XRP. So anyway, thank you for letting me join. I'll jump off and let you guys get on with it. I just wanted to know about that. So thank you so much.
Absolutely, Mel. Have a great day or a great evening. Sleep well.
Yes.
Whoever said Mel's accent is annoying is a dick. I don't know who that is, but
yeah,
what
right.
the hell?
And frankly, they're just wrong.
What the hell?
It's lovely.
I would let Mel read me a bedtime story. Yeah. Will, how you doing, brother? How was the show last night?
It was a good show. I mean, it wasn't really a show, but it was mostly just like time with Will. Rise up,
honestly,
night show,
bullish.
time with Will. So it was fine.
Yeah.
Bullish.
Yeah.
But it was good. But I did fuck up one thing. I put like join the Discord and like the board, but it's not a board like this. I don't know how you make this board. And it was just like this thing where I was talking and it was like join the Discord, but then it marked it as a sponsored live, and so
Really?
I don't think it. It didn't get put out to like new people. It was nice. It was still like a community of us, and there was like 80 or 90 of us, but it didn't get put out to anyone new.
So one thing to keep in mind just about TikTok in general, and hey, TikTok, if you're listening, come on, please. They roll out features to people in wildly like sporadic batches. Like, I've seen so many lives where you can just reach down here, long tap on a comment, and pin it. I've never had that feature. I don't even have an onboard video editor in TikTok anymore. They removed my edit option when I film a video. Film the video, go into like the screen where you'd hit edit. There's just nothing there. There's no edit. Just little things like that. I mean, I feel like I've seen so many things where the collaborative feature, I've seen collabed videos posted. I still don't have the collab option. So I don't know. Maybe it's just, maybe the notice board thing is a thing that Evan got because I've never looked for myself.
I also think you have to have guests when you. I don't have it's in the fun box category. So check that out. Next
for a
time you
second,
see
I
it.
was like, "Hey, there's a fake Will saying he wants to get into the StreamYard because you're in here," and I was like, "Oh no, I didn't put him on stage, so that's my bad."
Welcome to the StreamYard. There you go. We do have a lot of questions rolling in, and I've written a couple of them down, and some of them are rapid fire, and some of them are not. So let me give you a couple rapid fire ones.
Sweet.
Will, since you're just getting here, let me warm you up with the softball. Someone says, someone said earlier, I have $20,000 in Brett. Is that going to be enough to carry me through the bull run? Your response.
William, we don't have your sound in StreamYard, but you look happy. You look jovial.
So happy together.
I don't know.
There it is.
There we go. That's what I was saying. I have no fucking clue. What is carry you through? What does that mean to you? You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Quantify that. Put a number on it, and then I don't know.
Yeah, because like
I don't know.
no, for context, that is a really challenging question to answer, even if you clearly defined like what does carry you through the bull run mean, just because this is one of those things that we talk about all the time. Questions like that, the answer is different for every single person. It completely depends on so many specific little nuances for like you as a person, I hear $20,000. I think solid chunk of money that you can do a lot of damage with. I hear Brett, and I think, please tell me that you haven't bet your entire bull run portfolio on fucking Brett.
Hell yeah.
And then third, I would say if you've put $20,000 in Brett and you still have at least $20,000 in Brett, I would call that being carried through the bull run, and it's time to look at something that isn't a pile of
in and of itself. But the thing is, memes are the number one trend this cycle, and they're gonna remain that way. So like, honestly, the trend is your friend. Having some meme coins in your portfolio, I can't say is worthless. I can't say is dumb. It seems to make a lot of sense right now. So long as you're in some of the more like established ones. If you go to pump.fund, you're gambling, straight gambling.
Yeah, totally.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I completely agree that meme coins have been an undeniable trend, and that having a little bit of minimal exposure to these things is probably not a horrible idea. But like, I would treat meme coins to my crypto portfolio the same way that I would treat a conservative investor would treat crypto to their overall stock portfolio.
Or like you should treat candy as your diet.
Yeah, it's like our Milky Way is good. Yes, they're undeniably delicious. Do I live on them? No, I wish. But I don't know. Like, if 20,000, of course, we could be talking to someone whose overall portfolio is $6 million. In which case, I would say, dude, full send on your 20 grand in Brett. But like, if your portfolio is 20 grand and it's all in Brett, you're either an evil genius, or I'm so sorry for you.
Oh man, I don't know.
Faith.
I think it's funny. The comment said, clarified, had $20,000 in Brett. Had 20,000. I don't think it's been up for a long time. So and then I do want to highlight this for you too. Someone said, I want Will to carry me through the bull run. So they're more bullish on you, man.
I will put you in my hands, and I will treat you like my sweet little baby boy.
Get in line, because Will is carrying me through the bull
run. And then we'll take our waspy sweaters to Rhode Island, and I'll throw you over my shoulder as we sail around.
As we sail around into the sunset, the Rhode Island sunset. Okay, I have some more questions for you. Are you ready for some of this? Someone wants to know, if I had $1,000 to invest, should I buy Bitcoin or something else. What would you recommend I do? We get this question a lot, and I love always hearing what you guys ask, what you guys answer for this.
Well, the question always comes back to where the place you should start before you invest every single time is, what are you investing for? You know, do you have retirement as the thing on your mind and you don't want to be very hands-on with your investment? In which case I'd say just take all $1,000 and put it in Bitcoin. Are you looking for a quick flip because, you know, maybe you're looking to do a little bit of renovation in your home. Maybe you're looking to buy a sofa. Maybe you're looking to, you know, you need a new car and you're looking for like a bigger down payment or something, right? In which case, something short term, something immediate, something quick flip, absolutely would not recommend Bitcoin. I'd say go and take a look at a whole host of altcoins, right? So ask yourself that first. What's your goal? What are you trying to use that money for? What are you trying to grow that money for? That's going to direct you more so. So get the answer to that question. If it's long-term, Bitcoin's the only option, maybe Ethereum, maybe Solana. Right? Those are the only ones that like I have very high confidences in that order. Bitcoin, and then it's like Ethereum, and then it's like Solana, and then it's, if I could have a hand reach into the pits of hell, that would be like all other altcoins' ability to be here for the long term. That would be it. You know, Chainlink's probably up there too. But yeah, so I mean, ask yourself that question. If you're looking for a short-term flip, you know, always look at the hot ecosystems and then look at hot trends in those ecosystems. What's hot right now? Base, Solana, Sui. You know, Toncoin was hot. If it comes back, maybe it can get hot again. Say could get hot. You know, people are talking about it a lot, but really it's the first three I mentioned. And then try to find AI coin that's hot. Try to find a tokenization of real world asset play that's hot. Maybe a really important piece of DeFi, like Aerodrome on Base or Jupiter on Solana, you know? And then play with that. And then there you go. Bob's your uncle. And then sell. Hit the sell button.
Yeah, don't forget.
The whole point of
the
whole point of the quick flip. When I say quick flip, in my mind, that could be something a few weeks from now. That could be something tomorrow even. That could be, you know, 3, 4, 5 months down the line. That to me is a quick flip.
Yeah. And I want to highlight the comment that says, take profits or Alex will haunt your soul.
I will absolutely die.
Oh my God. I had a screenshot. It was my favorite comment of the night during a live. And someone said, I'll send it to you guys. I'm not going to do it justice, but it was, I have been taking profits simply so that Alex's voice in my head doesn't yell at me. They're like, and I've been taking profits. I was like, good. That's beautiful. I was like, he's going to love that.
Oh, man,
I do love that. That makes me very happy.
Yeah. You have real estate in our followers' heads of just screaming at them.
Okay.
On a scale of 1 to things that I could influence as an influencer, taking profits is my favorite thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna need some new Rise Up merch that's a little Alex is a devil on one shoulder and Alex is an angel on the other shoulder. That's what I need. And I need one for me and I need one for Will too. So that we can all have little angel and little devils for people's shoulders. And it can be like a scarf or something. You can just wear it as you walk. And maybe if you squeeze its little devil foot, he'll say, I will absolutely die on this hill.
That'd be wonderful. We have so much merch, guys. We have so much merch.
So many merch options, but the only one that's really banging out right now that the people love is the mug. So the Rise Up Morning Show mug. It makes your coffee taste better. It makes your morning smell sweeter. Your night electric, and truly is the best thing we've got.
Ooh, I saw that comment by Dawson Parker. You and I have a very similar strategy. I am also not going to be selling my Aerodrome position, at least looking to do it, until Bitcoin hits or is close to about $85,000. Just so you guys are aware, altcoins, I've spoken about, altcoins go up when two things happen. It is when Bitcoin is in price discovery, which is when Bitcoin's making new all-time highs, which right now would be Bitcoin above $73,000, and then Bitcoin dominance starts to fall. Those two things happen. But when Bitcoin makes a local high or Bitcoin makes an absolute high, altcoins typically run for the next 1.5 to 3 weeks afterwards. That's when the altcoins hit their highs, whether it be a relative high or an all-time high. So, you know, excuse me, this bull flag pattern, if you've been following my TA, should send Bitcoin to roughly 83,000 to maybe stretch up to 90,000. Right? That's what the TA is telling us. Once Bitcoin hits that like 83, 84, 85, $86,000 range, you have maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 weeks of your altcoins being able to, you know, go up by quite a bit. And that is the time, those first few days after Bitcoin hits that high, that's when you start averaging out, right? Because you don't know when the party's going to end, and there will be a time for when the party ends, even if it's just a short-term party end, right? Even if it's just like, hey, we're going to go down for about a month, and then we're going to keep this party rocking, right? You know, just remember the pain of what it felt like for once Bitcoin started going down in March. You know, this has been like, what, 6 months, 5 months of downside action for the most part. Remember how long this can last, right? So when we're in these good times, when Bitcoin's at that 85K range, you got about a week, maybe 2, maybe 3. So start averaging out. Sell 10% here, 10% there, 15% there, 20% there, 30% there as more time goes by. Make sure you get paid. Okay, that's what I'll be doing. So I was glad to see that comment by Dawson. Or else. That's why I was glad to see that comment by Dawson, because that's exactly what I'm looking to do as well.
Will, are you setting orders, like automatic orders to execute for that? And do you have a platform that you would recommend that people use for that kind of a thing?
I will do it, and I just do it on Coinbase. I mean, like, you know, I'll just set limit orders. That's what you do. If you want to set sell orders at certain price points or buy orders at certain price points too, you can do that on any exchange. Instead of doing a market order, and a market order is you just going and buying the asset at that time, set limit orders so that as the price moves up and moves down, that just executes. Because a lot of the times, you know, maybe the market did okay today, but as you go to sleep, if you're in the United States, you know, Asia wakes up and they go gangbusters, right? And but by the time you wake up, that massive explosion ended and you missed that opportunity to sell into that big candle. If you had limit orders, you would have been able to profit off of that. So it's a good way to like wake up and be like, ooh, money, you know, it's just nice. And then also it avoids a big problem of Coinbase going down or centralized exchanges going down, because they just don't have enough throughput to handle all of the demand of people running to the exchange to sell all at the same time. It can cause the website to crash. We've all experienced websites crashing as like a big mass of people run to it. And that happens with Coinbase. So, but the thing is if Coinbase goes down, the limit orders still execute. Okay. So it's a good way to avoid running to Coinbase, it being down, and then you miss the big pump because, you know, the one exchange you used wasn't working.
Yeah. I like KuCoin also. It's hard for people in the US to use, and they're discontinuing service. Public service announcement. If you have assets on KuCoin's platform, especially if you're using a VPN to access it right now, they will lock your account if you live in a place, specifically the US, that isn't allowed to access it in December. December 17th is the date. So you got to go in. All you can do is move your assets off the platform. I was ignoring the emails for a long time, saying I'll get to it. And then the other day I was like, oh man, I got to get to it. It's time.
Shit.
You know, I think I don't know. I had a couple $1,000 there, and I love KuCoin. Kraken is another alternative that has, I think, always been good, but for whatever reason, I haven't needed to use them. I'm looking into using them more. You've used them a lot, don't you, Alex, for just trading stuff on a centralized exchange?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Not anymore.
Yeah. Not anymore. Now that Jesse's gone full like alt-right. Well, he's not as maybe as far gone as the Masari guy, but
no. Yeah, and to be totally honest, like as obnoxious as that was, that really wasn't it. It was more just like an ease thing, and I just realized that like, hey, listen, like I'm getting a way better stablecoin return on Coinbase, and I would say 95, probably like the vast overwhelming majority of all of my stuff happens off exchange in hot wallets, and I really only use them for like little moments. Yeah, and I might as well just use Coinbase for that because it's easier. And if I'm gonna you know, make the step and like use a centralized exchange for something, it is exclusively to capitalize on the convenience, and Coinbase is more convenient than Kraken.
Did you guys see that Robinhood just reduced non-custodial wallet.
Reduced.
They
Right.
no. They just released a
Released.
non-custodial wallet. In
did see
addition
that.
to their centralized platform,
Yeah.
they've kind of done the Coinbase thing. So Coinbase, for folks who don't know, and Robinhood, both are centralized exchanges. Coinbase is crypto native. It's one of the biggest in our land. Robinhood is just trying to get a piece of that pie. But I was really impressed recently that they released a non-custodial wallet, meaning that instead of relying on them to hold assets for you in an account that you are just privileged to access, they have the infrastructure now to give you your own private key
Very
and
cool.
have your own wallet to integrate
Oh,
with some
I
of the
did see
services on
that.
their
Yeah.
platform.
It happened a little while ago. I was glad to see that. 'Cause, yeah, my feelings about Robinhood were the same. Yeah, I had the same exact feelings with that too.
Yeah.
But that was a really nice thing to see.
Yeah, it was good.
So, really quick, Emily and Mia.
Oh, I was just about to address her comment too. Yeah.
No, I personally don't, just because I don't do enough trades for it to make sense. I literally like maybe once or twice a month, so it's not worth it to me. Because I do, like I said, almost everything that I do is nowadays it's in Phantom, because almost everything I do is on Solana. Honestly, unless I have to do something else, it's going to be on Solana, which is just kind of that also plays into my investment thesis, which I wanted to say, Will, just taking us back a tiny little smidge. I really liked your spectrum of maybes as you went farther down the list of confidence and like long-term viability for stuff. You know,
Oh yeah, for like Ethereum and Solana and chain. Yeah.
Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum, maybe Solana, and I would say at this point, maybe Avalanche. Because here's a little piece of alpha for everybody.
Hold tight,
Follow-
Alex. Hold tight on your alpha. Will you do me a favor? Will
Rug.
you mute yourself in StreamYard and then turn your audio on TikTok? Because it's buzzing, brother.
Test.
That's even
Oh.
better.
So much better.
You're crispy, man.
Oh yeah.
Please continue.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, I have an echo now on my side, but that'll be fine.
Oh, you
Just
do?
for
Then
my
turn
voice.
us off on, or just take your earphones off. You can take your headphones off.
You'll hear it all through the phone.
Test. Let
Yes.
me turn this up. Oh, you're right.
It is
Beautiful.
Yes, and I still hear the nice music. Lovely.
perfect.
Now I don't have to worry about those headphones fucking with my hair.
They did look cool, though. I'm sorry, Alex. I didn't mean to rug you. I was hearing the static and it was driving me nuts.
No worries. The alpha. Follow Avalanche on LinkedIn and prepare to have your little socks blown off. Because
Okay.
the amount of stuff that company is working on and doing, and like the engagement and the interaction and the conversations that happen in their comment sections on LinkedIn is quite something. And people, I don't know, like I've been saying this for months now, but I'm just, little old me. LinkedIn is the fucking place for like real crypto social media stuff. If you want to see like meaningful thing, I think Twitter is super great for like updates, but the comment sections are drivel and awful.
Yeah.
LinkedIn comment sections are the alpha. I was so pleasantly surprised with the caliber of like feedback and criticism and like not in echo chamber stuff that you can find in LinkedIn comment sections. It's kind of wild. And Avalanche is like hyper active over there. And just I have learned so many just new things about how intertwined they are and how active they are from their LinkedIn, and I think it's really cool. So that would be the alpha.
Thank you very much.
It's interesting because I was looking at Avalanche last night and I was telling people I'm pretty disappointed and saddened by the lack of money that's going to Avalanche.
Yeah.
Look at DeFi Llama. Their DeFi Llama looks not good.
Yeah.
Really?
So I think that's worth noting for sure. Is just like, this is one of those, that's why I made a very extra long maybe, because like some stuff needs to change, and they definitely had some money going in there when like the height of meme coin season, when we had like the Trader Joe era for a little bit. But that part is weird to me. And I'm really curious to see if Off the Grid's presence now, one, inspires more things to follow a similar framework. And two, just because Off the Grid's on Avalanche transaction volume is bonkers. It's very good. and I would like to see like how, if, when that translates to more money kind of flowing onto the platform. Because, you know, you're right, Will, and a lot of these transactions are, you know, teeny tiny and they don't involve moving a ton of like liquidity around, but that's also kind of the point. So I'm curious to see like the money coming in from other stuff, because we don't need to just suck it out of gamers the whole time. So that kind of like comparison is what I'm excited about, and I'm willing to give it like months to kind of marinate for a little bit before I, you know, rush to judgment.
Well, what are the conversations or examples of the conversations you see on LinkedIn that make you bullish about Avalanche? You say it's like the quality of the conversation is better, but like what are the conversations?
And also, who are some of the people generally you recommend following if people want to learn crypto on LinkedIn?
Yeah, so great questions. So really quick, who to follow? Any blockchain company that you're interested in, any and all of them. And then the people who are the most impactful over there. So like the CMO, or, you know, collab managers, that sort of thing. Like look for people like that. Higher up, the better, because you get like these kind of like longer, more well-written, more methodical, more thought out, big. I don't want to say the word corporate because that's not quite the right feel, but that kind of gives you the vibe. But like business-like vibe in posts and stuff. They're written like for business people and professionals. Like Will says, LinkedIn is social media that your boss is watching. So as far as like why I say this and why I'm repeatedly saying this. So first, an anecdotal experience that I had. I posted a video over there because I've been sharing more content on LinkedIn about crypto, and I had a comment where someone responded to me, and I was making a claim about how I thought gaming was a really cool use for blockchain, and I thought it was like the best consumer application going right now. And they completely disagreed with me, and they didn't like the involvement of crypto in gaming or blockchain. And on TikTok or Twitter, that comment would have been like, crypto's a Ponzi, you chode. And on LinkedIn, he wrote me like 5 paragraphs explaining, well, here's why, and here's an issue that I see, and I think they would need to solve this problem, and I'm not so sure that they can do this properly, and I think there's too many scams for it to be taken seriously on a like large level and whatever. They were all points that we could turn into conversations, and I was so like taken aback by having a comment like that come in that I was just like, holy shit, first, this is incredible. And we went back and forth 6 or 8 times. Just like big, long things. And at the end of it, you know, we didn't completely agree, but it was like a cordial, good, I would say very healthy conversation. I learned something from it. I had to look up stuff to see some of the claims that he was talking about. And so then going from there, I just started taking that big Avalanche post and going through the comments. And there's a ton of support. You know, there's a ton of like people who are there because they love Avalanche and they don't care and they're bull posts, whatever. But there's also like dissent, but it's like well-written, reasoned dissent. You know, it's not just like, hey, fuck you, Avalanche. It's like, hey, I see a big issue with you using consensus mechanism this when you should be using this because this doesn't make sense for this. And it's like, this is so much more refreshing to read and how I think the industry actually grows. Yeah.
Genuinely useful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's it. And it's because their bosses are watching. So, you know, everything that they post is a resume enhancement. It's not just like, you know, shit posting your 130 characters or whatever the hell you have on Twitter or X, you know? So it's like, you know, what you say is watched by people who you want to hire you and pay you money. So it's very, daddy watching, have to behave.
Yeah, and the character limit is a big deal. I honestly hate character limits, like 130, whatever the character limit used to be. So it just kills productive like dialogue.
The other thing that I would point out too, just because I see Amsfar saying, great, now I have to reinstall LinkedIn. First of all, LinkedIn. I'm sorry.
But also,
But also, you know, you'll thank me later. I want crypto content creators to like all join forces, the good ones of us, and use LinkedIn. The threshold for good engagement that will help the algorithm push you on LinkedIn is like 5 likes and 2 comments. Like if you do that, you're breaking out of the trend of like 0 engagement and anything is good. And I can't help but imagine what it would be like if we had, like I keep telling the Wolves DAO guys this. So Wolves DAO, Jesus, get it together. And Sam's starting to do this because Sam's a G. But like post over there, and if 15 to 20 of us just like had it out for each other and liked everything and left comments and just like stitched things and quote posted whatever, I can't imagine that wouldn't just explode because of how much extra engagement is like being given to stuff from things within, and especially because my final point on this, and I'll shut up about LinkedIn. This isn't sponsored by LinkedIn, but it totally
But
should
it
be.
should be.
That's someday I'll be able to give that disclaimer with this is actually sponsored by so and so. Instead, for now, it's just should be. I would challenge. This is an open challenge that nobody on TikTok is going to take me up on, maybe except for these two. If you're so confident in the crap that you post on TikTok, post it on LinkedIn. Post it on LinkedIn and tell me how that goes. Honestly, first step, post it on Twitter and tell me how that goes. And then post it on LinkedIn and tell me how that goes.
Well, no one's going to see it if you post it on Twitter.
Yeah, that's true. But just like the threshold for accepting bullshit is so much lower on, like, someone will challenge you on LinkedIn when you say something categorically false. And 90% of the TikTok videos about crypto are just straight up wrong. Post them on LinkedIn. See how that goes for you. Open challenge.
Yeah. You're not going to have a good time.
You're not going to have a good time. If you pizza when you're supposed to French fry, you're not going to have a good time.
Not going to have a good time.
Man, I am like
Man,
Amspar.
that's a reference that's dating us.
Just a little bit.
Went right over my head, man.
That's a reference that Evan has no clue what we're talking about.
Went right over my head, man.
Oh, man. Oh, Evan.
You have to send me a video.
Oh, baby girl, why?
It's old school South Park, Evan. Old school
Okay,
South Park.
okay.
Old school South Park.
No, man, I just, you guys are on LinkedIn, so I don't have to be. I would get on for you because I love you, and then I would forget about it. I'm like Amsfar, who said I turned to self-employment so I could, just get away from stuff like that, and that's exactly how I feel.
When I turn to self-employment, I'll be able to go to LinkedIn because I'm on LinkedIn for my corporate job, and I can't let them know what I actually spend more time on.
I know.
Oh, did you guys see that? We just got a Galaxy. I've never seen it. I don't think I've ever gotten a Galaxy before. Thank you very much.
Thanks, David.
That's mind blowing. Everybody on YouTube is like, "What the hell are they freaking out about?" That looked kind of cool.
Everyone
Honestly,
on YouTube,
truly.
yes, all three people on YouTube.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of the internet, though, we did have a really good question earlier, and I don't know that we've ever talked about this on the show, but and maybe we have. So correct me, Skip it. What concerns do you have about the infrastructure of the internet? Which mostly crypto happens online. It would be really cumbersome and inconvenient to be offline, to be like a caveman and then have to reconnect to the chain. But like, what happens if the internet goes down to our crypto? What do you guys always say to that?
Oh, I missed it. I love that one.
I missed it too.
Well,
Someone gave me the elephant.
You can get access to crypto through satellites.
Also, I think radio, Bluetooth.
Yeah, and through radio. So like there are other ways. It would be annoying. But the thing is there have to be infrastructure to be like reset up again for that kind of stuff. So like, I mean, it would still work. But the thing is if the internet goes down, we're worried about a lot more than just crypto. That's it's the global economy shutting down.
Yeah.
Oh, am I a cyber cat? Meow 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 meow. That was fun. But if the internet goes down, we're worried about way more because the entire global economy shuts down, and however long the internet's down, you'll see like chaos. You'll see chaos. So like, I'm not too concerned about it, but like a big thing that I'm concerned about with a non-decentralized internet is if there's ever a large war to pop off, one of the biggest things that will get attacked are the internet cables.
Yeah, the deep sea cables.
The deep sea cables. And like, I mean, Russia's already been attacked. If you've been paying attention, Russia's tried to go and cut the cables for Western society before.
Really?
Yeah. And there's a whole lot of if you know folks like at the Pentagon and shit, they're just like, yeah, like Russia tries to go and cut the cables like at least like once every other year. Just like, and so it's just like continuously trying to stop that shit. But the thing is like that'd be a thing. If you want to like really fuck up a country you're at war with, go and cut their internet cables in the deep sea and like see how well they do, So like that's a big national security concern for everybody. If you could have a decentralized internet, that'd be great. I hope to God it's not ICP, but hopefully it's a better actor.
So this is a conversation that I want us to like not move away from, but put a pin in for when we get my dad on the show, because there are not very many people that I've ever spoken to who can give you a better, more educated answer to why this is not really the concern that people think that it is. To that point, one of the things that my dad is going to do, spoiler alert, that might disappoint some people, is take a shit on decentralized storage solutions using crypto, like Arweave and stuff like that. Not because they're like inherently bad, just because they aren't what people think that they are, and they don't do the things that people think that they do in the way that people think. Like, there is a perception that if Amazon all went offline, that Arweave would still be cooking, and that's just not true. If we lose Amazon, it's all gone. You know, like
It's all gone.
But to that point, as much as we love to point out Amazon as like this giant centralized company, which is true that like Amazon is the company, the infrastructure is very decentralized. It's spread out all over the place. There's servers all over the place. It's not like this thing where one server farm is going to go offline and we're going to lose Amazon. Like, that's not what centralized means. It's governed by Amazon. Like, it is controlled by the company, but it's not like in one room. You know, another South Park reference, Will, the episode where it's like the Grapes of Wrath, where they're going out California way to find some internet.
Oh, yeah. We're heading out the California way. Yeah.
And they eventually get to the end, and there's just like this one giant modem in a room, and Kyle just like turns it off and turns it back on again, and he fixes internet for the whole world. Like, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's the joke. So just, I'm not like educated or qualified enough to like give you a full answer on that, but I've talked to my dad enough to say at least that, and to say this is specifically one of the things that we're going to talk about with him when we get him here is internet infrastructure, problems with it, and the worry about it. And to Will's point, there are so many angles and avenues of potential attack, and they're being bombarded minutely, 24/7, 365 days a year. I mean, like, even when my dad was hosting, work network at home out of our house in one of the old houses we used to live in, big old, server farm block, bunch of computers in the basement, he could sit there and like just watch incoming attack attempts. And it was just like 24/7, just, dictionary hack, this, whatever, things being sent, yada, yada, whatever, most of it from China. And just always, almost never stopped. So it's constantly happening.
I do want to remind you on the note of security that these are our only accounts on all the platforms you access the Rise Up Morning Show, the Rise Up community on. All the official links are listed at theriseupmorningshow.com. Anything else, anyone else who reaches out to you, that's a scammer. It's an impersonator. And if you are new here, we do have scammers and impersonators because we talk about finance adjacent topics, and they want your money. So we will never reach out to you directly unless we need to notify you. We'll notify you publicly first if we need to. Please report the scammers, block them, just don't talk to them.
I do want to address Anthony's comment here, which is a pretty common one. I feel like we all get a lot. It's like, is there actually going to be a bull run this cycle? A few things here I just want to expand on is, one, there have been several bull runs in this bull market, going back to 2023 when it started. We've had at least 3. You could argue 2. The thing is if you have been in the market since then, if you've been in the market in the beginning of 2024, if you got into the market in March or whatever, maybe you weren't here for them. Maybe you just got in for when things were red. But if you have been here since any one of those 2 or 3 bull runs we've had in this bull market, and you're still down, you have been picking bad coins. Maybe you're running and chasing the coins that the influencers are pumping at you and using you as exit liquidity. Maybe you're not doing enough research on particular coins to see if money and adoption is actually, coming to them. Anthony, you've been in since 2021. If you've been in since 2021, then, maybe you just have to take a hard look at your coins. And I would recommend taking a look at the coins that are showing strength, right? What are the ones that showed strength as Bitcoin's gone down since March? Put all those on a list, and then look to see if that's what your portfolio, if your portfolio is built of those coins, you're doing great. Based on your comment, maybe you're not. So I would just say take a hard look at your altcoins and try to remove your emotional attachment to them currently, and be fine with maybe selling them at a loss to position yourself in positions of strength so that you can get that money back.
And if that's something you're wrestling with, I would tell you, please, right now, stop what you're doing and go to theriseupmorningshow.com or tap any of our faces to get there through the links in our bio. We have right on the site a link to our Eventbrite. free courses this month. This week's live course is Portfolio Principles. We're teaching it on Sunday, and it's an essential check-in to see what are you holding, what are you feeling about it, and how are you doing the research and drawing conclusions about where your portfolio can go. Do you have a strong portfolio? Do you feel confident about it? Have you researched the tokens you hold, or are you watching videos on TikTok? What does that look like? And how can you build a healthy portfolio or revise and revive a dead one with question, answer, live discussion with people? If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, you can attend for free. Attendance is limited to 15, so we can make sure to have not an overwhelming amount of people to give attention to. Sunday, 2 p.m. Can't attend the live course? No problem. We've got the recording available for purchase for just $15. And we will offer the course again. Check it out. It's at theriseupmorningshow.com. It's called Portfolio Principles.
Mm-hmm.
You set me up perfect, Will. You nailed it.
You're welcome.
The check is in the mail.
Dad, I just trust Alex.
I just trust Alex. I do too.
Yeah, I'm excited for this class because it's one of my favorites, because on its face, it sounds like we're just going to tell you what altcoins to put in your portfolio that you can walk away. And it's so much better than that. Like, any schlub can name 15 altcoins that you can stick in a portfolio, and who knows what they're going to do? Absolutely nobody. But like, the methodology for building a portfolio that like fits into your box of what you want and like what works for you, that's a skill that absolutely anybody can teach. That absolutely anybody can learn, not teach.
Hey, Alex, can I ask you a question on the topic of things we can do and things we can't do? Because I feel like you'll have the best answer for it. We got a comment yesterday from new premium member Cajun. Cajun, we love you. Thank you for being a premium member.
Right.
He asked us, just in the realm of feedback, like, what can we do to make premium membership better? Because I was explaining to someone all the different perks, and he said, hey, I would really love an AI trading bot that follows and copy trades you guys. So like trades you guys make, meaning us, so that beginners can have growth while learning. He says, in my opinion, the point of crypto is for all of us to grow together and put the wealth back in the hands of the people. And another suggestion he had would be trading strategies for smaller accounts, like less than $3,000. Alex, can you let folks know? Because I think a lot of folks would hear that and say, man, why don't we do that? I would love that. I would pay for that. I've paid other people for that. It hasn't worked out very well. Why don't we do that?
There's a couple reasons. One, none of us are traders. I would never, even if you paid me, I would never let anybody copy my trades, because anytime that I do sit down and try to trade stuff, it's usually not good. Also,
we'll put the big laugh on for that one.
I'm glad I got that out of you there, bud.
Oh, that was good. Sorry.
It's because I like you guys, and I wouldn't do that to you. But no, there also, honestly, like, even if I was amazing, like, even if when I did trade it like went really well for me, and I was like, yeah, I would totally get, making you pay for that is just kind of like, it makes me a little queasy. My trades are so infrequent that I could literally just like send out a letter in the snail mail to let you know when I do stuff, and it would still be prompt. Like,
yeah, no, I'm the exact same way. Like, you'd be like, wow, this trading bot hasn't done anything for 4 months. And I'd be like, I also haven't done anything for 4 months.
Yeah,
correct.
So, but what about the legal problems?
For that AI bot.
What about the legal problems, Alex? Like the problem of, why can't we advertise to people, sign up for a bot, you will profit?
Yeah, because it's just a crime.
It's just straight up illegal.
Yeah, you cannot sell someone the expectation of profit or return. There's all sorts of gray area that people try to dance in when they do things like that. But really, a big piece of it is kind of just cut and dry. Like, there are licensing structures that people need to go through in order to give financial advice for payment. And talking heads on TikTok, none of us carry that license. I've actually only ever in my entire time on TikTok seen one licensed financial advisor doing a live stream where they answered basic questions. And even they had a giant disclaimer of all the things they could and could not say because they don't know who's watching. They don't know at what point they joined. They don't know what context they've got. They need like a full interview with you as a person before they can tell you that sort of stuff. It's just risky. I promise, like, as much as it sounds like that would be cool, it would not be beneficial. It would not be worth the money. And I'm just not really a big fan of doing crime in any flavor.
Yeah. And even if we became certified like financial planners, investment managers, there are all kinds of rules about like how many clients you can take on, your fiduciary responsibilities, and it would not be, it just wouldn't be a good deal as a consumer product. Now, I will say to the point about trading strategies for smaller accounts, that is an example of what this class and hopefully all of our live classes and coaching services can be. We're also going to do a class next month that's going to be just a Q&A session. We've had classes all month, and everybody who's taking the class, their brain is just bursting. Now they have enough knowledge and information at the foundation, but so many unanswered questions. So we're going to do more live Q&A sessions where you can just ask us your specific, give us your scenario. And what we will do is, in that or in this upcoming class, we will help you to come up with what feels like a good strategy for yourself, a strategy to learn, a strategy to take action, and a strategy to stay safe while you do it. Ultimately, if you're relying on us to tell you when to buy and sell, like, could you make money? Maybe, but somewhere along the line, you're going to get wrecked. Why are you guys cheesing about?
Because David says, what about just a small skosh of crime? Just a nibble.
Just a nibble. I'm laughing at that. But I just want to have like a trading bot follow my stuff and have people follow that, because like, what if I fuck up and then I fuck up for a bunch of people? I don't want that. I don't want the responsibility in the slightest.
No.
Yeah. I have been in the position before where like I've had people that know that I'm into crypto literally ask me like, can I just give you 10 grand and you do it for me and then just return it when you're done? And I'm like, absolutely.
Dude, I did that for some family members, and it was just like stressful. And they're like, what's it like today? And I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah, it's awful.
How about today? How about today? I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah,
I still have some money from one of my brothers for to help with one of my niece's college, and it's doing just fine. But he's just like, how about now, man? Like, how about now? And I'm just like, I hate you. I hate you so much.
Yeah, I'm seeing some consensus in the chat that other people have also received that question. I have always just been, listen, absolutely, unequivocally no. And I'm guilty of it too. I've asked like specific people that I know that just always crush it. I'm like, dude, just take my money. And they're like, no, absolutely not. Because they're good people and they're good friends.
And it's interesting too, because like the investment,
love you and I want to keep loving you. No.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. The investment advice part of it, there's Hester said in our interview something about, we want to make it so that on one hand, people don't have to go around like the same way that you would, I forget how she phrased it, but the same way that I would be like, oh no, don't buy those New Balance shoes. They don't have any support in the sole. You should be able to say, oh no, don't buy don't buy Dog with Hat right now, or Brett or Sonic Obama, or whatever. I don't know, whatever it is, and I should be able to say to somebody like, Bitcoin is sound money. If you were going to invest in an asset, I would invest in Bitcoin, like without having to worry that I'm going to get a knock on my door. And I think for the most part, I feel pretty free doing that, because I don't know. But if you held my phone up to a judge, I think they'd be okay.
I think that one of the reasons you feel that way is because how much effort we all put into making sure that like context is present and understood. That like we can't just make a video with no prior experience, no other things that you could refer a confused person to, nothing else that you could reference that just says go buy Bitcoin. Like there's so much other stuff, and you would never just say it that way. Like that kind of, tunnel vision view on go buy this thing right now because whatever, that's unhelpful. But with all the other stuff, I think it becomes progressively more okay.
Did you see Nick Johnson's comment? He said, I would take their money and then just tell them 5 minutes later, sorry, it's gone.
And it's gone.
Also a South Park reference.
That is also a South Park
Is it really?
Yeah. It is. And it's gone.
I gotta sit down in a cave and just watch some South Park.
You do, man. You just have to watch the first like 6 years, I feel like, and you'll get most of the old school references.
That's all. Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's done.
Okay.
Also, by the way, we have good macroeconomic news today.
Tell us.
Yeah, the jobless claims data came in very positive. Jobless claims data came in at 227,000 jobless claims for the week in the United States. That is better than the previous week, which was 242,000. And the forecast was for it to be 247,000. So good.
So people have better job prospects, basically, is what we're hearing.
Well, less people are filing for unemployment than thought. So that does not necessarily mean there are better job prospects.
No, but I just mean to say, tell me why. Tell me why.
Because
Or why it matters.
why it matters.
Yeah, why it
Well,
matters.
the thing is if people are employed, people aren't being fired, that means we're not heading towards a recession. There you go. That's it.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. And we've got a couple more. Don't we have another report coming out tomorrow that's worth watching?
Yes.
Well, the thing is later today at 10 o'clock, we get information about new home sales in the United States, which is good for the health of the real estate market, which affects all markets. And then we get some more retail or real estate data tomorrow. And tomorrow we get something else. Something else. That's important. Something else.
William, can you do a favor really quick on the subject of these different data reports that we get? There's a comment that I hope you know that the data is not right. And my response is, it's not that it's not right, it's that it's incomplete. Can you just kind of talk about
Yes, that's exactly it.
gradual updated data models and why this, what does it mean it's not complete?
Yeah, well, the thing is these jobless claims data's reports are weekly, and you also have jobless claims reports that are monthly. And the thing is the data that you're pulling in, we're pulling in data that can be pulled in very, very quickly. And there are other data sets from the jobless market that just take a little bit longer to be able to pull and record. So that's what happens. It's not that the numbers are fake, the numbers aren't right, it's just that they are incomplete. Yeah. And so what they do is they get the initial data that you can pull quickly, and then they read that and then also kind of set what the expectations should be based on the forecast of the data that's left. Then once that data comes in, they correct it, right? And it gets corrected in both directions, guys. It gets corrected in terms of being made better and being made worse, right? It just depends on the data that they're missing. Yeah, that's it. There you go.
No, very, very good point. Yeah, this is one of those things where, the government, regardless of all other opinions of it in various capacities, in this particular instance, it's sort of a damned if they do, damned if they don't kind of thing, because you would never want them to withhold data that could be important for people to know to start to get a sense. But also, it's hard to accept the fact that data that could be released is not full. We saw this a lot during the pandemic with simple things like health information that was ever evolving and changing as the scientific process did its thing and followed the method that normally it wouldn't be such an emergency. So you could sit on the data and wait till you had more confirmation of it being right or make more adjustments before the whole report was released. This is kind of the same thing where in the interest of public awareness and openness and transparency in a time where that's a real problem, get stuff out as quickly as you can with a disclaimer that it could be more complete and you will get updates as it comes, and that all of this stuff is fluid. So that's really just the thing to keep in mind.
I also think that some of these numbers, I think some of these numbers are, I'm not sure what the right word is, presented in an incomplete way, because if they said, and I don't know how to word it to make it sound like I'm advocating for a conspiracy, because I'm not. The inflation numbers, for example, that we get versus the actual, adjusted and aggregated inflation is so much more palatable to everyday people. 2% inflation is probably not as realistic as 8 to 10% inflation based on the way money is losing its value, based on a variety of other factors. But the way we measure it is much more palatable to report to people, because 2 to 3% inflation is not so bad. You know what I mean? 1 to 2, 2 to 3. Even if you're feeling it at the grocery store. But if people saw a 10% inflation, they'd be like, oh,
it's one of
you
those
know.
things too, right? Like one of the things that I'm working on right now is valuing a company that we're looking at. And there's just like so many factors that go into it. So, you have like industry standard for comparing, earnings before taxes, amortization, appreciation, whatever, as a number. And then you would have to try to quantify risk. And like, that's a really hard thing to do, because like I have a different opinion of this company we're looking at's risk profile versus my partner versus the way his wife looks at it, whatever. Like everyone has like different nuance and context that influences their opinion of what is risk. So I think it's kind of one of those things too. Like if we look at the dollar as a strong asset or a weak asset or a meh asset, whatever, your perception of it is, that's probably influenced by some piece of data, and recognizing that like data in something like that is the sum total of 1 million anecdotes. But the person who's experiencing anecdote number 3,864 has a way disproportionate view of that anecdote's importance when you're looking at stuff. And you can take this and apply it to crypto as well when you're trying to analyze how good a project is. You might have a specific insight, like my cousin is on the dev team and he's a really good dude, or my cousin's on the dev team and he's an asshole. And all of those things could influence your like overall opinion, but you might have an overinflated opinion of like how important that one anecdote is. I think the same is true for basically everything that anyone looks at when humans are involved in extrapolating a conclusion from a data set while trying to determine how important all of these different pieces are. Because at some point, subjectiveness plays a role and opinion plays a role and personal bias plays a role. And honestly, that's one of the other reasons that I like blockchain, because there's no bias and subjectiveness and whatever in analyzing data on a ledger. There is just the representation of data. And that
I think we should have a conversation about how true that is in a minute. But first, I have to welcome him. He's traded the bathroom for a car. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Doug.
Doug is driving from his home bathroom to his work bathroom.
Yes. How's it going, guys? Good morning.
What's up, dude?
Just on the topic you were just talking about on the friends and family on the investment in the crypto side.
Yes.
And I have a funny, not funny story really quick for me in my world. So I had always shied away from trying to give advice unless it was someone who I knew was already in crypto and just like, this is a back glass bull run, right? This one, I don't talk to anyone like, at all for the most part. And then so when the meme coin thing happened, just going crazy, I had felt the obligation to say, hey, I got to mention it to some of my close friends and family because I didn't want it to be Christmas and the thing to be do whatever. I'm like, you didn't tell me? You didn't tell us about this thing? So what I did is when I talked to them, I said, hey, this thing happened. Let's put $100 into it. Assume it goes to zero. Maybe one day I'll call you. And these are people who don't have wallets. They have nothing. Right?
Yeah.
Right. So we set the whole thing up. So fast forward a couple months, this is like when it was, up 50 million down to 8 million. That's like just probably a month and after when I started doing that. My cousin goes to me, he says, Doug, he's like, we put in 20 grand. I'm like, what? Wait, you did what? I'm like, yeah, my uncle, I'm like, I told you to put $100. What did you? No. This is that like when it's 8 million. So then the comment William mentioned, it's like, oh well, what's going on? Like, when's it going? I mean, those comments after are just like not fair for you to do that. And it's in retrospect, I'm like, I'm never recommending anything again. Now we've passed that phase and we're okay now because there's like, hey, we're just doing our thing, but it's going to be very careful on those types of conversations you have with friends and family and having them understand the risks of crypto. And that's the most important message. That's all.
Well said, man. Thank you very much. That is, I would be like, what?
That's a great anecdote to add to your overall data set right there.
100%. All right, guys, I'll let you go. I gotta jump in the car here. I shouldn't drive with this on, but I wish you guys a good Thursday. It's Thursday, right?
Yeah, I know. What day is it?
Definitely talk soon.
You too, man. Thank you, Doug, for everything you do, man.
All right, guys. All right, I'll see you. Bye.
Ooh, I did look. I don't know why I said it like that. I did look up. We do have the economic data for tomorrow is durable goods data. It's a leading indicator for manufacturing data in the United States. Why that is important? It comes out at 8:30 in the morning tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time. That's important because if manufacturing data is on the up, that means that people are ordering stuff. That means future demand is expected to be high. That means that the economy is chugging along and the economy is growing. So we get that at 8:30 tomorrow.
8:30 tomorrow.
Just FYI.
Just FYI. Thank you very much. I actually, so I have two thoughts. You guys feel free to take it where you want. I have two kind of thoughts, a thread of conversation that intertwine at the intersection of your last point, Alex. Blockchain is immutable. We can trust it. It allows us to trust people we don't know because it puts the referee kind of outside the system. All the people who are mining or validating or whatever, like they are subject to the rules of the code. But different blockchains, different tokens, they're architected differently. And I think somewhere we really still have room to grow is in like the continued understanding of how that works, what is actually decentralized, what is actually trustless, and what's not. And you know, Will, I saw you made a video yesterday about Aerodrome. It was fantastic. A Stitch response to Yaboyski, I think is the creator's name, talking about why you're not concerned about the eventual increase in supply of Aero tokens. I won't belabor the point. Go watch the video, help Will's numbers. It's beautiful.
Weekly increase of supply of Aerodrome.
Yeah. The scheduled, it's built into it, and it's protocol, right? Like that's part of what they're doing. But something that was interesting to me is that in the future, you mentioned that they were going to leave it up to people who are staking Aero tokens to vote on changes to the distribution schedule. And one of the things that I have kind of wrestle with is this is a feature of ETH too, that at some point in this machine, there is human involvement. This is where like my inner Bitcoin maxi is going to come out. At some point in that machine, there's
anyone who's been here for any amount of time has an inner Bitcoin maxi. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I have an angel and devil that looks like Bitcoin on my shoulder, and the devil is telling me that the human involvement, if we look back at history, given 10,000 years, even with great incentives, like somebody somewhere could co-opt that, take advantage of it, fuck it up. If the Aero team, I don't know what you know about the Aero team's vesting schedule. If, for example, like they are outsized holders or will become outsized holders with an outsized proportional vote, what ability is there for Aerodrome for people in the future to co-opt that mechanism to impose their will on the network? And, you know, if it's a bad actor, to do something that would hurt the rest of us. And generally speaking, I think we should be talking about that more in crypto, because I don't think a lot of our systems are very as robust to that as we would like them to be.
Well, the base team will, by base, I mean the Aerodrome team will be able to maintain most control over it because they have staked, it's either 400 million or 450 million Aero tokens, which is 40% to 45% of all voting power.
Yeah, okay.
So, you know, I view, and then also the ability for them to vote, and then I'll go into kind of like broader philosophical.
And full disclosure, I'm a holder, you know,
yeah.
So.
But then, you know, once it gets to week 67 of Aerodrome being out, people can vote. If you missed the video, people can vote and either increase or decrease the emission rate of Aerodrome by 0.01%. So it's not like a big impact.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more so something of just kind of like letting the community feel like they're having an impact on, you know, like the future of the network, even though it's very, very small. And it's more so still very much so in the hands of what the Aerodrome team wants to do moving forward. So it's not going to change much. The idea of allowing a community to really have control of like a really important piece of crypto, you know, or blockchain solution, decentralized application is something I don't like. I don't like the decisions for the future of a decentralized application to be made by the people. Actually, I don't
either.
Because this is a very advanced piece of technology that we don't understand. And we need very intelligent, driven people with the ability to move quickly in a certain direction and to turn that boat in the direction it needs to quickly based on their business analysis and technical analysis, which the normal holder does not have, who allows their emotions to say, I just want the price to go up, as opposed to, I want this to be a good business. And I want it to be a good business, because if it's a good business, guess what happens? Odds of number going up increases over the long term, as opposed to being a coin that dies as soon as Bitcoin has a bear market.
So, but what about the other alternative, that instead of having a team of smart people with vision and control and having the community control, we had, like Bitcoin, total protocol control. And I want to acknowledge that even Bitcoin has some degree of like social consensus. Like if all the miners got together and were like, hey, let's do a fork, they could. But like it has proven, the ethos of the network has proven very resistant to that. And it becomes increasingly resistant over time. And I think we have the possibility with this technology to create networks where, I heard somebody say it, like the referee is outside of the game completely. We don't have that with centralized teams. We don't have that with totally decentralized teams, or many of the decentralized teams we have now. So is there a world where, like, how do you think of that, you guys? Is that the more preferable alternative? I kind of think that might be the most preferable alternative, is these structurally ossified systems that the people in them can't necessarily change. Like we set them in motion. Maybe there was a centralized team building them, and then they're released and they're code and they're open, but that's the way they are. The protocol is in charge of itself. No human can influence it. That to me is like the ideal that I'm reaching for.
Yeah, it's ideal. The only problem with that, though, is that, technology changes. And
Sure.
eventually that's going to become, the technology that is built on is going to become outdated. And it's going to take a very long time to try to change it. Now, with Bitcoin, it's great because Bitcoin is trying to do something both very simple and crazy complex. It's super simple in the sense that it's hard money.
Mm-hmm.
The complex thing is changing the entire global monetary system.
Right, right.
Because it's so simple. But that's the thing. Its simplicity is beautiful. It doesn't need to change. The only thing it needs in the future is more protection from, oh God, how am I forgetting the name? Very, very, very advanced computers trying to hack the network.
Yeah, quantum computing.
Quantum computing, right? It needs some protection from that. The thing is that's something that is a problem down the line, and there's enough of a runway for Bitcoin to be able to address that. But if you're a decentralized application and you're trying to remain leading edge, and you're trying to remain competitive, you have to move quickly. You're a technology solution. That kind of setup will not work for you. You'll eventually go the way of the dodo if you do that.
Yeah.
Because you're basically a technology company. You're a fintech company. You need to move quickly.
Yeah. And also, it's horrifying when people governing fintech companies have no cybersecurity experience, no business experience, no money experience, and they're still tasked with the momentous job of governing a protocol or a
No, but
network.
I'm saying they shouldn't have that job. I'm saying
no, I agree.
nobody should have that job. And I don't think it's a bad thing if they go the way of the dodo. I think we just build a new one when it's time. What do you
Something
think,
that
Alex?
I think that's worth mentioning, Evan, because you mentioned Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Bitcoin was started in an environment that can never be replicated. Because don't forget how many people just never paid any attention to the growing pains that Bitcoin went through in a very tiny little bubble with extremely driven and interested and motivated people who were not just focused on number go up. You can't replicate that environment anymore because of what the industry is today. And if you go back to the inception of Bitcoin and a lot of this is documented on YouTube. You can look it up and just go find people who live streamed stuff. There's a very famous video that I'm sure all of us have seen at least once with a guy who was tracking live on YouTube the price of Bitcoin the first time it went over $1.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
And he's just this is incredible. But he's watching it on this weird little setup. And at that time, the only way to get it was to email a guy in Timbuktu and PayPal him some money or whatever. So I think that's an unfair comparison just because we can never achieve that that space that the industry was in at that point. It wasn't even an industry. It was a science experiment. So the people doing it were experimenting and they understood the ramifications. They were there for the white paper, whatever. Now you have this spectrum of decentralization, but you also have a lot more complexity that was simply just not present at the time when Bitcoin was first conceived. So you've got all of these things that are hyper complex, like Will said, that are just fintech companies being governed and run by people with no experience you would ever trust in a million years to run a fintech company. If that person went before a board and pitched this whole thing, you would laugh them out of the room. So it's I'm seeking an investment of $400 million for my DeFi protocol. And it's okay, cool. What's your background? It's I didn't finish 7th grade and I like pictures of turtles, and it's like, that's the guy.
I
who's
made a
making it.
1000X trade once. Yeah.
Yeah, I got really lucky. Or that's a great point, honestly, Evan, is like, what's your resume? I won the lottery once. Oh, brilliant. You're a business mastermind. Like, absolutely. Here's $1 billion valuation. That's insane.
I pick numbers good.
Yeah. So, like, you know, if you draw a spectrum of decentralization and you have full centralized on one side and you have full decentralized on the other side, and we could pick a thing to represent either one of those, right? And you're trying to travel along that spectrum. You know, first of all, the right to decentralization, in my opinion, should be earned, not bought. So if you start decentralized, I have very little faith in you at this point, because there's got to be like a method of onboarding for people to govern.
Yeah.
And quick onboarding for governing looks like purchasing. And that just means that I have no faith in your ability to absolutely self-govern. I'm terrified of that. That's a recipe for disaster. That's why bullshit like Olympus DAO went up in flames. Because everyone's happy and hunky-dory when number go up. And the second number stop go up, we all lose our shits and we light the world on fire. And then it all crumbles and goes away. Also, to Will's point, though, like, we have some examples in recent history, currently ongoing, of what happens when a well-built giant company hands over any amount of control to a community. And that looks like Polkadot's marketing budget, which is obscene and almost exclusively voted on by the community, which is horrifying.
Oh God, it was a disaster.
Yeah. So, like, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with, you know, methodical, slow progression to decentralization when governance is earned through action, not bought with high purchasing power.
Well said.
Yeah. And one thing, Evan, that I'll disagree with you is just like the general sentiment of like, oh, like it'll die and they'll just go to the new thing. Like, I don't like that. I don't want that. Like, maybe I'm just old and I'm tired of having to bridge to the new fucking thing and fucking do the, I'm like, no, can we just get one really good like piece of DeFi that can stay around for a long time and be relevant and still be the thing we're excited about? Like, Uniswap's still around, but not too many people are super excited about it anymore as an investment, but still around kicking. But like, can we just have like some more pieces of the crypto industry that can survive one big up to down in Bitcoin? Can we just get some more like that? Like, that's what I want. Give me some more quality with staying power, you know?
I actually have a lot of thoughts. I agree completely. And I have a lot of thoughts on what that could be. I think one day there are going to be a few suites, like Bitcoin will be the money thing. I think we're going to have a layer for identity. Somebody is working on it right now, and it'll be cracked that you will plug and play. And it will be easier when things crumble and fall to take these kind of foundational central pieces and plug them into the new parts. But I have to cut myself off because we got a really good question to hit final thoughts with. And then we got to hit our final thoughts because it's our time, man. I can't believe it. Another week has flown by so fast. So if you've got a final thought, a good joke, a question, suggestion, word of wisdom, complaint, send that somewhere else. Put it in the comments below.
We don't want to hear it.
As we give our final thoughts, be sure to join us in the Rise Up Discord server. Always, always, always find the right link by looking here on the screen if you're watching on YouTube, or finding it in our bio, or just visiting the riseupmorningshow.com. That's where all the great resources related to our show are. We've got the newsletter, we've got the YouTube channel, we've got live courses and coaching like the free portfolio principles class this weekend, where we're going to talk about building or revising your crypto portfolio. Everything we do, the riseupmorningshow.com and discord.gg/riseup. So guys, if you have a different final thought, feel free, but I thought it'd be fun to just answer this question. How did you get into crypto? Who got you into crypto, and when did it happen? This question comes from Rock Bandita. How did you first get into crypto? Who got you into it? And I will go first just to say 2017 was when I first bought Bitcoin. And I bought Bitcoin on, I bought it on an exchange. I might have used, I'll have to honestly go back and look. I can't remember if I was using, I don't think Robinhood supported Bitcoin then, so I don't think that was it. But it was one of those centralized exchanges that was not a crypto exchange. Was it It was probably Robinhood then. I first bought Bitcoin on Robinhood. It must be. And you know why? Because I was doing other stock stuff. That's where I had, like, when I picked individual stocks, I would do it on Robinhood. I had a 401k, I had, an IRA, but it was mostly passive stuff. And as I started learning about stocks and companies, and I was like, Bitcoin, this is interesting. I had heard about it in 2012. I heard a speech about it as the future of money. And they talked a little about blockchain, but I didn't have a light bulb moment then. And it wasn't until 2019 that I had a real light bulb moment when I started to understand what blockchain could do, what smart contracts could be. It was smart contracts were a big part of unlocking the aha for me. And then I went back and looked at Bitcoin again, and I started to understand it better. I was helped a lot by the thought leadership of Chris Dixon. He is we started the episode with this A16Z's State of Crypto report. Go check it out. All his conversations are illuminating. He speaks about blockchain in a way that helps people understand it. And since then I've just been off to the races, looking for the next light bulb moment and trying to help other people have them. What about you guys?
Well, for me, it was 2017 and Ethereum was blowing up on Reddit. And I had first heard about Bitcoin, and it was, I was in high school. So it would have been 2010. And I first heard about it. I just remember thinking like, oh, digital money. Yeah, everything's being digitized. That'll probably be cool. And then I didn't think about Bitcoin for about, until 2017. I should just gone and bought $1. But, I was in high school. I wasn't thinking about this stuff. But my roommate is a big purveyor of Reddit. And he was like, oh, dude, you know this Ethereum thing? And I was like, what? And then I started researching Ethereum that night. And then I started dumping money into it at about 4:00 in the morning as I was researching Ethereum. Because for me, I've spent 7 years in the AI machine learning space. So like programmable money was really cool. Then seeing you could like build all this stuff in a decentralized way, I was like, oh, it's really cool. So I bought Ethereum first in 2017. And bought way too many altcoins, and then rode a bag up really high, and then rode it all the way back down below my entry point, and that was my first bull cycle. And then I bought Bitcoin in 2019 when it was at about $6,800 with my 401k. So that was great.
Nice. Alex, what about you? Alex.
Hey, sorry. I was typing. I got into it completely by myself because I was trying to learn about investing. It was 2015, 2016. And I was like learning about the stock market and how all of that sort of stuff worked, and learning about trading and just buying and selling and like running my own, portfolio management, like through my Roth IRA and stuff like that. And Robinhood became the platform that I was using for like some stock trading and experimenting and research and learning and stuff. And they offered a few cryptocurrencies. And I vividly remember sitting down and saying, I would like to add some of this. This looks interesting. I wonder what this stuff is. And Bitcoin was $3,000 and I could not afford to buy an entire one. And I didn't know you could fractionalize it and just buy a piece of it. So I skipped it, and I bought Ether for $87, bought a few of them, and the rest is history. That's
very cool. Very cool. Do you guys have additional closing thoughts before we ride our dogs and ponies into the sunset?
Yes. Just because he's in here talking about it, I'm going to direct my final thought to our dear friend Cosmic. Nothing on Earth is quantum proof. Quantum proof is a misleading and fear-based marketing tactic that is meant to scare people into over-investing in stuff that has no basis to make the claim that they are quantum proof. Quantum computing is not advanced enough to where quantum proofing is like a necessary and required thing for all of this stuff. And I'm sorry to say that just like AI, no one can comprehend what true, like, unbridled quantum computing is going to do when it, reaches the next tier and the next tier and the next tier. This is a constant evolution. Okay? Nothing is quantum proof. Saying that Algorand is quantum proof because of the use of Falcon is misleading, because that's resistance. Something can be resistant without being proof. The flight suit that I used to wear in the helicopter is flame resistant. But if the helicopter explodes, my pajamas are not going to save my life. because they're fireproof.
Sure.
The baked potato suit that the on-deck like refuelers wear on a ship when they're putting fuel in a flying helicopter, those are way better. But still, if the ship if the ship tips over, they're still going to drown, even though they're in a, you know, explosion-proof suit. So it's just, that's kind of the way that you need to think about this. It's very misleading.
Win's a win.
Sure, yeah. A win is a win, I guess, when I'm shit talking something. I don't like stuff like that. And that's my biggest pet peeve, when people make a misleading claim meant to inspire fear in someone, especially fear to push them to overinvest in something that is not being accurately represented. Nothing on earth is quantum proof. Nothing on earth is quantum proof. So,
yeah, and while we're talking about quantum things, QFS, Quantum Financial Services, is a scam. Don't click it. Don't fall for it. Don't send them your money. It's well documented. Well, my friends, another great week in the books. Everybody, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for hanging out with us. Do get the link to the Discord. Don't click on scam profiles. And thank you for being the very best part of what we do at the Rise Up Morning Show. You can catch all these streams on YouTube, and we will be back Monday, same time, same place at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, as Tech CEO says, buy the mug. And leave your questions for us in the Discord. Thank you so much. Until next time, my friends, rise up.